Good afternoon. Welcome to this very special set of events. My name is Oksana Sarkisova. I'm research fellow here at Blinken Open Society Archive and also one of the co-founders of the Visual Studies platform and director of the Verzio Film Festival. And these units, especially Blinken OSA and Visual Studies platform, are the primary units at Central European University that are concerned and engaged with the exploration of visual material and the meaning making. I am very happy to welcome our guests from Budapest and also CEU faculty and students, especially those pursuing the Visual Theory and Practice certificate, who will have a chance to learn a lot today. This is an event in the public talks that are organized in cooperation between the Visual Studies platform and Blinken Open Society Archives. I would like to also thank all the colleagues at Blinken OSA who were involved with putting this event together, and let me not forget anyone. I would like to thank Katalin Gádoros, Ferenc Nemzetes, János Dani, Juliana Lendvai, Nora Ungar, Darius Krolikovsky, Nora Bertalan, Gabriela Horn, and Zoltán Kriszbai, and also Sylvie Nemet, who is coordinator of the Visual Studies platform, who worked on bringing together to us a great filmmaker and a producer, and to let us explore the questions of working with the archival film in filmmaking process in documentary cinema. This is one of the central questions to all of us who work with visual footage, with visual material. We are here in the gallery space of Galeria Centralis, where multiple exhibitions are taking place that are for which the questions of the use of the visual material are central. We are here in the archive, which stores materials, many of which are of audiovisual type, and the questions of the creation of objectivity, the conditioning of the interpretation and the creation of the interpretative frameworks, the redefinition and reuse and repurpose of visual imagery, and the questions of spectatorship and the audience are really central to many of the endeavors that we do. So it is really wonderful that we have Sergei Loznitsa and Maria Shustova who are with us today. Sergei's work is both in documentary and in feature genres, and there was a turn in the career which was quite abrupt. Sergei first received a degree in applied mathematics from the Polytechnical University in Kiev and worked several years in the Kiev Institute of Cybernetics, after which he went to study in VGIK Academy in Moscow, at that time Film Institute in Moscow, graduating in 1997, after which he has completed a number of films, many of them documentary, many of them are actually crossing the border between documentary and fiction, and all of them are engaging with the issues of what we actually see and how we are to make sense out of it, how we are to make meaning out of it. And a lot of these films, such as Blockade, released in 2005, Review in 2006, The Event in 2015. These films were also previously featured at Verzio Film Festival, and most recent film, The Trial, from 2018, are films that are working with found footage, with archival footage, giving it a new sense, a new understanding, and new interpretation. There is also another very important dimension to Sergei Loznitsa's work, and these are, I'm talking now only about documentary films, these are the films that are very attentive observational works and that are happening in the places at the time where important events are unfolding right in front of the camera. And I would like to mention the films Maidan from 2014 or Austerlitz 2016 among the recent works. You also, of course, know Sergei Loznitsa's fiction features. Many of them are multiple award winners. The first fiction debut or feature debut, My Joy, released in 2010, premiered in the main competition in the Cannes Festival, and it was followed by a feature in the Fog from 2012 that received the FIPRC prize also at the Cannes Festival. In 2017, Loznitsa presented his third feature, A Gentle Creature, a very creative adaptation of Dostoevsky work, also at the Festival of Cannes. And just last year, parallel with the trial, another feature film was completed, Donbass, which some of you were able to see also here in Budapest, where it also received its premiere. The latest compilation found footage reworked archival film, however, will have its premiere tonight in Hungary for the first time. We are very honored to have Hungarian premiere. But before we get to the film, we are also very fortunate to have a masterclass now with the master, and to talk about the ways of using these films and to hear the thoughts and things that are not necessarily visible to us, just the viewers only watching the work. So it's very important to get behind the scenes, to get a sense of how you make the decisions you make. And I hope that your masterclass will be also followed by a productive discussion. So the way we will go with these two events, we will have a masterclass running all the way to 5 p.m. The last part of the masterclass will be dedicated to the exchange, questions, answers, comments. We will have then 1 hour break with some refreshments served here. And from 6 o'clock, there will be a screening of the trial, after which there will be also a brief Q&A, but already pertaining to the film itself. So once again, Sergei and Maria, welcome. Thank you for being with us. The floor is all yours right now, and I will help with taking questions at towards the end of your masterclass. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Oksana, for inviting me, and thank you, European University, to give us this opportunity to present something and to talk a little bit about this topic. Archive. Okay, I will start. So, it's okay. I will show something, not right now, but first question when we speak about archival film or films from archive. First question, what we mean when we name it, when we're saying archive. Everybody understands what we mean, but if you try to define that, you feel a little bit, discomfort. So, as I understand, without any definition, immediately that archive is something which was shot many years ago and was somewhere keeping some, saving somewhere in our state archive or somewhere else. And after that, I came and I discover, I make something from that footage. Okay, the question is duration. How long it must be in archive that it's named archival material? This is a question. If I start to define that, okay, that's the event which happened in Ukraine, revolution in Ukraine, 2004, is archive or not? 2014 is archive or not? This is this definition which I received from the main archivist in France was that everything what shot or what was shot right now, it is archive for me at all already. This is a very, very wide definition which covered everything what was shot. But in any case, when we talk about footage or the films from archive footage, we understand what we mean. I never think to make something from archive. As I never think that I will make documentary films. It just happened, and I work in that time when I seriously take it. I work in documentary film studio in St. Petersburg. This is logo of that studio. And I just passing by the room where the archivist of that studio, because studio have an archive, recording for somebody the footage from this siege or from blockade of Leningrad and during the Second World War from 1941 till 1943. And I just look to that screen, and I staying there and watching like 3 hours. I can't move. And after that, I went to the street, and because I was really seriously impressed by this footage. It was without any comment, just picture. And after that, because I was so strongly impressed by that, after that I came to this archive and asked archivist to give me all films which was made from that footage during, because in Leningrad it was it's a very significant pain, and every year they made one film, at least one film about the blockade. And I realized that almost all films, it's more or less propaganda, patriotic films, where it was, the main idea is it was a difficult time, but we won, and everything is in plus than in minus, let's say shortly. And was no film which show city, how city destroyed and died in that time. The film which show how people survive in that time. It was not a topic for all these films, and of course understandable why. And I, after 2 years, I think 2 years, if I can or not, ethically, if I have a right, for my opinion. This is also a question. And proposed my view on it. And how I can make this film. And for me, it was only one solution, that I exclude any comment, any voiceover. I didn't use it at all in my films, in my documentaries. And exclude music as a commentator, as a sound which comment what happened. And in that case, we have to make with a sound designer this sound from that time. We have make it, and what I want to bring this archive, because in all our imagination, archive is something which was shot somewhere long time ago, and some historians show us what happened and make commentary and proposed us point of view. The most of the films was made like that. Now they start to imitate some situation which never was shot in that time. They imitate with a shadow, with a hand, with something, and this is another sort of another genre. And the most films was made like that. And what I would like to present that past as a present for spectator. Just would like to propose spectator to live in that moment, not to have this distance with a voice, with opinion, with point of view already, which already done, and to live during this 50 or I don't know 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and touch it with the skin and feel it with the skin, and this. Why I avoid all explanation and proposed to discover to everybody, discover that event and think what happened. Because maybe because of that, we have in Russia, I was born in Belarusian, but in Russian culture, and in Soviet Union, and we have unpredictable history. You know this sentence about Russia, that, and we don't know our history, and this is why probably also with archival footage we can somehow reburn this history and reproduce this history, or just produce the feeling of that history. It depends how who will work with that. And I prefer to avoid, exclude myself. Is impossible, as a director it's impossible, but exclude on the, you know, the work on a very tiny level, not on the level when I just present myself and the director is staying inside film and like on the cathedra. I would like to remove cathedra. Second thing what I can do, I keep in mind that I have only this footage which I have. It's 6 hours footage, 6 hours. It means that in that time, 3 years, 30, 40 cameramen shot mostly almost every day, maybe not every day, but shot. And we have final 6 hours footage. Some other footage exists somewhere in some secret archive. This archive also exists, and I believe that they save this footage also. And I keep in mind that, because I can't show the things which I don't have. And also I have organized this footage in a special way. And what is the way how to organize? It depends what I have. But when I start to work on each film with archive, I immediately divide this picture on the type of that picture and create script and idea how I will develop that during this dividing. Like I have folders like people on the street during the summer or during the summer. Or I have here in film Montgolfiers, the Zeppelins. And I collect all shots with the Zeppelins together. I have also this episode with people who are preparing to fight with the airplane. And I collect also together them. And after that, I see the way how to connect this different episode. And if it's possible to make a like a chapter from that, or if I have to find other solution, for example. This is a way. And after that, when I discover everything, I can see all palette, what I have and how I can work with it. And also the second thing which important, that how I will organize time. Because this footage was shot with like 4 seconds, the shortest it's a 2 seconds, the longest is 11 seconds. It's quite fast. You know, it's a quite fast edit. And I have to fight with that because I don't want to have this kind of fast feeling. And to also to find way how to make feeling that these episodes or shots longer. And also how I will manage time, because I tell the story which takes like 3 years, and each episode have like take like one moment. It happened during one moment, if episode described one situation. And how to be with that, how to jump in time and make it smoothly. It's also issue. And when I find the way how I make it, I start edit. Or more or less, it was in separate, in same time, more or less in same time. So now I will show the beginning of this film and will explain step by step how I work with that and what kind of question episodes rise. What kind of question I have to solve. And okay, let's go. Okay. Sound. Yes. So this is first, I think, 4 minutes of the film. It's first episode, and I decided to make a in-between episode Blackfield, just a simple things. It's looks like a chapters, yes, with the sound, of course. And the first episode, the structure, the footage which I use, shot in different time, in different place, in more or less the same, in Leningrad, of course, but in different places. And it was in summer, and some of them was shot maybe in November or something like that, October. But for me, it's important that it is consist one. It is altogether one unit. I don't have a doubt that with each shot which continues story. And first of all, I have the idea what I want, because for each chapter I have this text for myself, like the verb, which defined idea. And I would like to present city, and in same time another idea that city preparing, defending. So not immediately jump to the war and not immediately, show the destruction or something. No, we keep that. I have footage to show city. The last shot was the bombing already. You can see destroying houses. But I would like to have this end shot and to see where we are. Yes? And thanks God, I have these all episodes, and I have possibility to jump from the Mars field where these guys train and rehearse how they will, direct cannon. And I have this Zeppelin on, and I can jump to the street with the Zeppelin and jump with the Zeppelin to the sky, and from sky to show city. It is a logic, but it is a logic which not fit to historical logic. It's fit to the logic of the telling story with a picture. So, and another thing, we made, for example, all steps and all Foley effects, and add all tone. And sometimes we play with the sound, and sometimes like sound of the tram, which are far from us. It's sounded a little bit more noisy than it's in real life, but with sound I can manipulate with the attention of spectator, and I would like to mention this tram because I will use the tram in next shots, and I would like to, for a different reason, I would like to point that point in the shot. So for editing reason, for example, and we work like that. We not making like 100% careful sound. The concept of sound in this film, as a footage, archive footage, sound also must be not precise. A little bit distortion must exist inside the sound. For example, the steps, all people, it's a strange thing. We made steps like 3-4 line for steps, for each step. It is the Foley artist make it. And we make it precise how people walk. Precise, like the feet put to the earth and in sync. Yes, and it doesn't work. It looks like it's out of sync. This is the magic of cinema, You have to lie and to be precisely, you have to lie. To create the artificial image, you have to lie, not to be exact like it is in life, because this cinema have the serious distortion itself. So, and this is more or less concept. I use footage which fit to each other, and I didn't care about historical moment and precise the moment when it was shot, because we, from one side, have historical event. From other side, we in front of the rules which independent from me as a spectator, from me as a film director, which exist objective rules, objective, not subjective, and this objectivity belongs to us all, to all of us as spectators. We accept that. All this art which exists in time have to follow this rule. And according to this rule, we have a particular point in timeline where something must happen, and we have to keep this wave. I mean the wave of the wave which consists with the length, from the length, like the frequency of edit. Like in music, the same, the frequency wave. And we have to think about that. If, for example, I make a film when all sequences will be the same length, have a same duration, nobody will see that. You know, this is subjective rule, like 20 seconds or 10 seconds. If somebody can make this film 10 seconds, and you will see that, and after 5 minutes you will say, okay, something wrong. You don't know what. So, and this is another issue, that pattern of the edit, this rhythm, and pattern of rhythm. It's a very important issue, which have nothing with event, with concept, with everything. So, and also another thing which are very important. Every frame or every shot have few meanings. First meaning is the alphabet meaning, like what we can see here, yes? It is what? They will come closer and we will recognize this is a German soldiers and surrounded by Russian soldiers and cameramen around, and they bring these soldiers to show people enemy. So, and I decide the second chapter make like, we'll present enemy. Who is our enemy, against whom we fight. And this is particular meaning, yes? Second meaning, it's a allegorical meaning, allegorical. What it means in allegory. So, another meaning, because all this, this meaning is nothing at the moment. Allegorically, it's meaning nothing. You know, the first shot can have an allegorical meaning. The first shot, it was like river and Petropavlovsk fortress. And also we have reflection in river of that fortress. So symmetry, it's a sign of death. Yes, in context of art. And we can speak about this, the Leta, the river, and etc., in context. And some shots I immediately take out and keep like allegorical shots. And I will show another allegorical shot in this film also. I use time from time, and it was a kind of introduction, in my opinion, about death. The Petropavlovsk fortress, which is a prison, also which was the first fortress in the territory, and this is a symbol of Leningrad, Petropavlovsk fortress. Yes, right? Symbol. And Lenfilm have also this symbol, Petropavlovsk fortress. And this is a symbolical thing, allegorical. And the most important meaning which we create during the editing, because editing and existing two shots together change meaning. And if we understand this game, if we use this game, we can create meaning, and this is the most important for the film than everything else. And for me, cinema, it's a way with a image and with a sound way how to create meanings. Not just tell story, okay, story is a story. Exist stories without any meanings. It's plenty of that stories. Yes, but exist stories with the meanings. We know all of them, more or less. So, and this is also the task for film, which have nothing inside the historical event, yes, because event is event, but the most important how we see that and how we describe that. We have plenty of footage, and about objectivity we can speak when we have all these episodes separate. Yes, for example, this episode which I recreate completely because this episode was in the all Russian propaganda magazine and films. And the episode express how people hate the enemy, and also another thing that our enemy is not such a страшный, scary, and we can, they are also like us, and we can fight with them, because it was distributed in the space that the Germans are very, very, very dangerous, and it's impossible to fight with them. Yes, and this is why the reason why this propaganda was made, and I find in different places, in different films, in different magazines, part of that, because they divided this negative in between different magazines, and part of each, and collect all together. And I have finally the way which this group of people made in the city. They came from outside, they passing through the city, and they try to collect crowd and shoot crowd, you know. And they came in the center. Okay, let's see what happened. look to this woman, and we now start to touch another issue. Can we name it that documentary or not? It's a question. Because they create this episode at all for a special purpose. I mean that the film director, or I don't know, the propaganda district or propaganda unit, they have this task, and they bring the soldiers, and they create, they organize that shooting, yes? And another issue, what I have to do during my working with this footage, divide things which happened by accident and things which was created by somebody, director, and etc. And here I don't want to remove that, but I have a doubt that she's just happened on the street. You know. She have special role, and she do it now, but her way, how she dress, you know, look, this is for theater. And how look the rest people. She surrounded of that people, and she doing like that. So, special role. And it's not I'm sure that it's not something they catch. They proposed her this role and shoot that. And the question is, why? Because this kind of things, not only this kind of expression, but how to say, fiction documentary, I met many times, and now I work with an archive with a Russian, which was shot from Russian side during the German intervention to Soviet Union in 1941. And comparing with the German archive, the Russian side, they shoot everything which was under control. You mean that they didn't shoot, I didn't meet any shooting on front line. In 1941. After that it was, but 1941. On front line I didn't see. I saw, we researched quite a lot. I want to see. But I saw if some tank moving, it's a kind of training or rehearsal. If the soldiers is passing, the cameraman, he preferred to make a kind of fire, and through fire to shoot the soldiers, you know, and make a beautiful composition, nothing against that. But most of that shooting was organized by the cameraman. You know, the question is that they did not trust to reality, and even with this film, for example, I saw that the episode when somebody walking on the street, it's a snow, and this person falling down because he don't have forces to walk, don't have exhausted, yes, and he is just falling down. And I said, okay, wow. And till the moment when I saw that second take, I did not believe that it was acting. You can shoot everywhere. You can shoot this kind of things, but not. And it was one episode from the Roman Carmen film where he shot. It was sentences like the first shot. The girl walked to the street on the street, walked to the school. After that, with a school bag. After that, the plane is it's the same method as me. Plane is on the sky. Okay, plane bombing city, and girl running, and nobody else, just she running. And we can recognize that this is Leningrad, and we can see significant things like Winter Palace or something else. And after that, some explosion, real explosion. And after that, we can see her on the earth with alphabet book. It's open to us, and this is the earth here. and she's pretending to be a diet. Yes, this is documentary film. My question, you can find the many this kind of things, and my question, according to this propaganda document, is a document or this is hand creative things, and I have to fight with this kind of things and find it and remove. I use some of them. I use, but okay, let's go with them. And if I leave this episode like that, it's no solution. We don't know what happened with the soldiers. Probably they was killed, or we don't know. But thanks God, I have I find one shot, which tell us in this, последовательность, consequence, in a consequence. Create meaning that they was bringing to the city, they working to make a propaganda, and they just come back. This shot. But I can move this shot to the beginning of that episode and have episode with open end. This is, according to me, what I prefer to do as a film director, because it's not written on the shot when it was, in which time it was shot, So. So more or less, I collect all episodes which connecting the bombing, explosion, more or less all together. And in real life, it was, you know, it's more or less every day they bomb, but we don't have all possibility, but I have to create impression from that. And also, what I decide not to show, how people fight on front line, because it's another issue, because my point is concentrate on the city. And also not to show how people work, because it's factories also work, and it's kind of part of footage also exists dedicated to that. And I make this point of view because we always represent some point of view of the person who are not participate in the war, not work, who can see streets, and this is who can be a child or old people who are not involved in the war but can observe that from a little bit from a side. So, and okay, I will, after that I follow the line of development according the time, like this autumn, after that winter, and after that we'll see what happened. So, and also what to do with a dead body, because it appears on the street immediately, and it's according to me how to show it and when to show it, and how to open this topic for spectator, because it's also very impressive picture, and I decide to slowly put it to the film, slowly, like 1, 2 times, and after that show everything which strongly impact spectator in the moment where it is a culmination of the film. In the moment, because what I realized that after watching that, for me everything is stopped, and what I can add to this tragedy, nothing, and how I can develop that, nothing, and I keep this also not according the historical events. I keep chronology, not according chronology. I keep it to the some moment when I stop. I have to stop the tell story about this city. So, okay, let's see this episode, and after that I will jump a little bit further, because we have. I made more. I made four documentaries from archive, and they all different. It's the first time when we see the wounded person, but we not concentrate on him because it's a part of some action. It's a side shot from the main action, which is not about that. Okay, I will jump. Now it's 16 minutes. Film 52 minutes. I will jump a little bit. Normally, when these shots nobody use because it's not attractive, just people walk on the street, and it was like a part of this срезки, rushes. And when film was made, I read that I discovered something new footage, and it's not discovering some new footage. It was just I put this footage in the way which nobody did it. And it looks like I pointed in another way. So I will jump over one episode. So let's go to that. Okay. And this episode I keep till the like 41 minutes. It's like more or less in that place. Before it was summer, autumn, different kind of activity during the winter, and after that I can show that. When you have already feeling of that, not only knowledge about what happened, but feeling, and to create this feeling help me the different shots which I just connect to each other. These three shots were separate, yes? And this is according me how to put it. And it is another meaning if I start from that, and after that cover it with a chord, it's one meaning. If I make in opposite way, it's another meaning. You know, what is close to that time and to the true which was there. And this is my choice. I think people use something from even clothes, of course, not to thinking about something else. You understand what I mean? This is also my choice as a director. This is one of the symbolic shot, and I think they make this shot for special purpose because it's from one side of the river, they come to the other side of the river, and the composition is like one of the famous Russian painter Perov composition. More or less, I think they thinking about that, and the grave was not in that direction. This is what I know, and I use it like allegoric shot that because after episode, which was the last episode, which you have seen, for me nothing to add to that tragedy. After impression which I get and which spectators get, nothing to add. I can't show the streets. I can't show anything. We become to the most, how to say, emotional point, culmination of our emotion. And now, at the moment, I have to do something with this body of that film to create meaning of that film. And I have not so many possibilities, and I can finish the film with that. For example, it will be one meaning. It's we was surrounded by enemy, and the city is dying, and people are dying, and quite a lot of people are dying. And this is a meaning if I finished with that. And I decide jump in time. I make a jump in time to the moment which also significant for all people who was there. For me, like, story is finished here. Story, which we're telling that storyboard or story like a story. So this is allegorical shot also. People on the earth, more or less. And we can hear some cannon or front line, which is not so far. I prepare the next episode. So this is a firework which dedicates to the end of blockade. Happened in January, end of January, 28 January, 27 January. So an absolute contrast to everything what we have seen, these happy faces and people celebrate. And if I finish with this episode with a celebration, it means idea of the film, that it was hard time, a lot of people died, but we won. This is sentence, final sentence. And I also decide to finish this episode with that kind of shots, with that kind of sound. Not with happy faces. And add one more episode. So, which, on my point, add another dimension to that film in all contexts which we already have seen. It was hard time, a lot of people died, we won, but problems still there. So, this is how I can shortly discover that. And the question about the public execution raised and add to all this, because all of that, and we have context, all context of the public execution, which I add to all this event, because we can speak about that like about public execution, and start to talk about that. And it's not ended, that's all. This is what I want to say. And my friends, also filmmakers, some of them, not all, but some of them, when I've seen this film, they said, young and famous, quite famous, they said, we study together, we can share opinion openly, and they said, okay, everything was good till the last episode. You are not allowed to edit because you start to judge. This is in their eyes, I judge. So, and you are not allowed to judge. It was a very interesting moment because I didn't expect this kind of, how to say, you know, this kind of impossibility to think wider. Not in context of Soviet historiography. And if we talk about, we know more about that event and about the blockade now. Some of this footage still, you know, impossible to find, or some archive still impossible to open. And it's still open question, but what we know that it wasn't really blockade, because blockade, it was a possibility by lake to bring stuff. But for I don't know which purpose, it's a question, it was not made. So, it's a question, why they didn't use this possibility, because the Germans covered Earth, and the Finnish people, Finnish army covered other part of the Earth, but the lake was still open for the transportation. And capacity was there, exists this investigation by the different historians. So, yeah, and etc., etc. And it was my first experience with archive, and after that, or during working on it, I find the way how I would like to work with archive, and I continue with the next film. And next film I made with the Soviet propaganda magazine. I have seen many of them during I edit in St. Petersburg film studio. Like I have a rest between editing and ask my friend who is the chief of that archive, bring me the reels with the propaganda film magazine. And I have seen like all from 1954 till 1980 or something, 1990. It's quite a lot. And it was interesting for me from the camera point of view, because in 50s in Soviet Union they produced not so many fiction films, and a lot of good cameramen work in archive, and through that we have a very good picture in all these propaganda films. And also the way how they develop representation. The first films was like films, the propaganda. I mean the magazine, 10 minutes each. It was like newspaper Pravda, the same, more or less. It's a first page, second page, and in the end, the sport and culture. Like each newspaper. This is what we're thinking about our life, that political stuff is on the first page, which is strange. Sometimes it does not influence to our life, but it's the first page. And culture, which strongly influence to our life, it's somewhere in this cellar. So, and in beginning it was like music, voiceover, and picture as an engagement. The most the idea was explain us by voiceover, and somebody tell us Soviet people la 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 la, and music also adds this impression, and after that we can see something. And after that, after 60s, it's a little bit freedom, and people start to make an interview. One of the first interview is 1957, 58, and interview was made in very naive way, like the reporter came to some worker, put microphone, and worker looked to the microphone like that and stay like that. And what are you doing here? I make a still in this way. Very, very interesting. And after that, they more and more sophisticate till the interview where some ideologists from the committee, from committee of the central committee, or some local committee of Communist Party, they lie us to like eyes to eyes. They lie like a Solovey, Nightingale. Nightingale. And you know, you have, and my idea was, okay, they use this propaganda for foolish all these people. Let's maybe once this propaganda work in good direction, and to represent themselves. When propaganda, we can see propaganda, or we can, I don't know, reveal. And so I thinking about the way that making film in the way that I show pictures and describe country without any comments. After that, I add a little bit comments, and add a little bit voice over, and after that a little bit music, and transform during the film. I transform and change the form. And in the more or less close to the end of that film, we are inside the propaganda. But slowly. We start observe like observers, and after that we are object of propaganda. We, in the beginning of the film, subject, and in the end, object. So, and also I would like to find the most interesting and attractive moment and curious moment, funny moment of that in these magazines. And finally, I find one episode against this episode, whole film staying. So, and I made this 80-minute film. I will not show all this, but the beginning and something, and after that, just how it worked. And also, I use this, they shot quite a lot theater performance. And for me, propaganda is a theater performance, and I involved also theater performance and music performance. They use it. Finally, I made a film about the Soviet ideology, what it was, this machine, ideological machine, как это, сталкивать. Clash that with true. One episode with a true episode. You can see that this is a not lie. And this is concept. To making this concept, I have like 80 hours, these propaganda films, 80 hours, quite a lot. In the end, it was on some festival in Russia, and it's a festival which the curator is the Patriarchy or something like that, this church. And I received the prize from the Russian wife of the Russian President Medvedev. The prize is for the good sentimental memory about this Soviet time. Which is, you know, it's fantastic because film is an open structure and you can read, the film proposed you to read it from your perspective. So, okay, I will start and show a little bit from the beginning and show how it works with, yes, just a moment. Okay. This is from another film. I use for each film more or less this introduction, kind of. I try to find the episode which represent idea or structure of the film. And I find for that film this episode. It means that we have melody, and this melody during this time they destroy it, and we have a jazz there.
А кусок хлеба сейчас бы в руке сидел.
This is how propaganda machine works. Bring the nets and collect all of us. We're fishes. This is TV propaganda machine. So, beginning, it's a way how I represent Earth, people. I didn't understand what they're doing, but it's interesting. You know, they remove the earth from place to place. What is the point? And they covered us. And they remove people also. And this is interesting. It's a French subtitle. Glory to the Communist Party. Bon voyage, Mother Shiksna. River Shiksna in new direction. They turn river. They change river what? Bed. So. Okay, this kind of very character activity, and I will see if it's English subtitles also. I just tried to find. Yes. This is a very strange action also. Put corn to the snow. It's growing. So, and now I will change a file because here's a French subtitle. I would like to because it will be text. Just a moment. Just a moment, I will change the file. So, first time performance in theater.
Сельские вечера – моя первая пьеса, поставленная многими областными театрами. Это лирическая комедия из колхозной жизни. Премьера ее в нашем театре состоялась в мае 1954 года. Сегодня наш коллектив показывает спектакль в 200 раз.
Lyric comedy from Colchos life.
Нелегко, видно вам, гражданин Плакун?
Да уж какое там легко.
А вы ведь, кажется, и правда у них за святого угодника?
Не моя вина, гражданин дорогой. Ведь жизнь, особливо после войны, все-таки много горестная. Каждый ищет утешения. Вот и является им направитель жизни. В нашей местности, вот, стало быть, он явился в моем образе. Ну, святой там или какой особый, вышестоящий человек. Ну, как бы сказать, сверхумный знатец, трепетом и благоговением окруженный.
Вышестоящий умник, окруженный трепещущий.
Благоговейно трепещущий, да.
Он все знает, он никогда не ошибается, а трепещущие грешат и каются и грешат.
Истинно так, истинно так.
Свое мнение он изрекает как высший закон. Сказал и убил, сказал и вознес. А дерзнувший увидеть его ограниченности критиковать, предается анафеме, как Иуда и Каин.
А как же?
Ну, словом, он полный хозяин. Хозяин людей, Что хочет, то и делает с ними, как всякий хозяин со своим скотом. Так вот, у нас был такой умник, и мы его свергли. Кого? Царя.
So I use this performance in special purpose. I have my own game inside that because we always touching some different meanings. So this is first of all never happened, of course. Lenin speaking with kulak, which appears in the end of the or middle of the 20s when Lenin died. I mean, the kulak, it's a rich peasant to whom we have to kill or, I don't know, send to Siberia. They speaking about the beginning of the Soviet power when they just свергли царя. They made a revolution. Okay, and with the revolution, I will finish also film with another performance about revolution. It's named October, and it is opera. It's not so agricultural performance. It's on a great scale and performed by Muradeli. He have like 3 Stalin Prize for different kind of things. This game, in between meaning of all this performance, I didn't know that in 2007, when I edited that, I will develop myself in this direction, and I made the last film, which named Donbass, feature film, based on the let's say archive. It's a footage which I find in internet, which was shot in 2014 by people who was a witnesses of the war which started in Ukraine, in this east of Ukraine. And based on that, I made a film about part of life or part of performance as a part of life, life as a part of performance. So I just discover this topic with this, with this footage, archive footage, which was made by Soviets during all this time. Now I can say, the film which will be also today, which named The Trial. It is the biggest performance which was shot in 1930s, which prepared by authorities, particularly by Stalin, and he was a director of that performance, and they made public court against the people who made, in bracket, diversion against the Soviet sabotage, against the Soviet economic, and this why we live so bad, and etc., etc. It's not far from what we have seen now. So in this, the proud man who is proud that he made that, present that. So it's not so far. I just turning around more or less same topic. Okay. After that, it's I show the it was agriculture side. After that, it's factories, workers. Some episode from how they work, and I will jump a little bit. The first interview, one of the first interview which I met in this news reel.
Это ручка для Вот по этому углу.
Оксана, скажите, пожалуйста, какие вы взяли обязательства по почину Мамая?
Столеварам нашего цеха понравился почин донецкого забойщика Николая Мамая. В ответ на это мы взяли повышенное обязательство. Ежесменно давать сверх своего сменного задания по одной тонне стали.
Very serious, strong, direct, and staged. The way how they made interview like that. It's the first step. Was speaking people who they didn't know how to do, and the way it's very interesting for me. So, okay, I will jump to the next performance. Okay. That's very interesting also from ideological point of view. What they shot and what they say. Okay, this is...
Здравствуйте, товарищ. Здравствуй, Василий Петрович. А что это мы, товарищи? Уголек не идем разгружать, которого так ждали. И ночь, что ли, это дело уголь разгружать? Не пойдем, колодцы! А я, товарищи, самому Владимиру Ильичу Ленину слово дала всех вас.
Ты была у Ленина? Видела его?
Вот послушайте, что мне Владимир Ильич за чаем говорит.
Ну что.
Трудно, говорит, вам на первых порах, очень трудно таким огромным хозяйством править и жить впроголодь. Но никто, говорит, нам не поможет, ежели мы сами себе помогать не будем. Уголек, говорит, этот товарищи шахтеры посылают и наказывают, чтобы он государству и нам на пользу пошел. Ну, я от всех вас поблагодарила Владимира Ильича и слово ему дала от всех вас, что мы завтра же пустим фабрику.
Что же это мы стоим, товарищ? Ленину слово дать. А ну, на работу, его! Вот ты, собирай желающих! Ну, на фабрику води! Что желаем, посмотрите!
А ну, становись со мной! Майдан
This is quintessence of Soviet ideology. We don't want to work because we are hungry. Or hungry. No, we promise to Lenin. It's not solved problem. You know, hypocrisy. Openly, they show openly the whole hypocrisy of this Soviet regime. So, and after that, I involved these episodes which connected to the power, how power construct and... Election. They elect him. first music. It's from Propaganda magazine. Tan, 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 tan.
Это были радостные итоги. Народный блок коммунистов и беспартийных одержал на выборах полную победу.
So, first time I used this comment from this propaganda magazine. But the biggest part of that episode, my sound, and we observe, and we are from the side, yes? Also, I also keep this structure, season structure, like winter, spring, and this is also strange action, like with the seeds before. Continue this line, the professor. They will not have this. This is my comment. So, and I will jump to the middle. I will jump to the middle. Many things happened. Aha. This one is very important episode also. But it's still description.
Я диспетчер. Пригласите машиниста Кулева к селектору.
Понятно, приглашаем машиниста Кулева к селектору.
Товарищ машинист Кулев.
Машинист Кулев, слушай вас.
Вам необходимо со станции вывести поезд, вес которого превышает 300 тонн. Вам обеспечиваю Зеленую улицу до Брянска.
Николай Иванович, что у нас сегодня вечерний будет передача?
О скоростных тяжеловесных плавках Сталевара, Карпека и Борисилова. О сдаче в эксплуатацию 12-й квартирного комната по улице Поводневной.
Слушаю. Да, редакция радиовещания. Так. Хорошо, спасибо. Будет, корреспондент обязательно будет. Василий Петрович, через 40 минут машинист Петраков прибывает на Брянск 2 с тяжеловесным. Надо ехать сейчас.
Сейчас выезжаем. Станция Брянск-2. Здесь ни на минуту не прекращается жизнь. Каждую минуту идут поезда с углем, лесом. Здравствуйте, Алексей Яковлевич.
Здравствуйте.
Большой состав сегодня привели, конца не будет. Наверное, с километр. Тяжело было вести состав такой.
Нелегко.
Ну, расскажите, как вы его привели?
Напряженно работали в пути помощник машиниста Анатолий Котов и кочегар Виктор Фокин. На спусках использовали инерцию, этим экономили пар. А перед подъемом шли со скоростью 80 км в час на полную мощность локомотива.
Можно сказать, поезд шел как курьерский.
Да. Диспетчер открыл Зеленую улицу, и поезд прибыл в Брянск на 20 минут раньше графика. Груз доставлено на 900 тонн больше весовой нормы.
Ну что ж, желаем хорошо отдохнуть вам и вашей бригаде.
Спасибо.
Говорит Брянск. Передаем вечерний выпуск областных известий.
Станция Брянск-2. Здесь ни на минуту не прекращается жизнь. Каждую минуту идут поезда с углем, лесом.
В темном лесе, в темном лесе, в темном лесе, за лесью, распашу я, пашенку.
Сейчас хор готовится к смотру сельской художественной самодеятельности.
Я посею, лёнка напель, уродися, лёнка напель, то над долом, бел волокнись, в темном лесе, за лесью,
So I will jump further.
Я видел, что он на машину.
It's товарищеский суд. The comrades' court. People's court. So, okay, but I will jump further. Like, okay, here's a lot of dancing and etc. We'll see where
Я помню, какое большое впечатление.
This is Pioneers. I just discover or describe all these elements of that propaganda already. And like that, for example, like that, very important. Americans, of course.
Теме «Государственная безопасность. Всенародное дело» и был посвящен областной вечер. За активное участие в обеспечении государственной безопасности вручается почетные грамоты инспектору ГАИ Михаилу Павловичу Зиновкину, бригадиру колхоза «Гигант» Федору Петровичу
This is the way how propaganda made. And all next episodes will be like that, more or less. Music, text, and etc.
повышением бдительности.
If we talking about foreigners,
зло высмеивают студенты-кораблестроители, поклонников так называемого искусства.
probably Mick Jagger. But it was one of the possibility to represent or to play that song. So, okay, nice songs, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, policeman, the theatrical play about I didn't understand what, about the party relationship. So,
В этом году тысячи экономических
party Nightingale from party and more or less culmination. The most important, the head of that regime.
Никогда за все время моей работы мне не приходилось испытывать такого волнующего события. Мне трудно выразить те чувства, которые я сейчас испытываю. Через 20 лет мы будем жить в коммунизме. Сбывается то, о чем мечтало поколение человечества. Мне хочется жить и работать так, чтобы быть достойным нашего великого времени.
Of course, I put it in ironic context, but it is in sound. My relationship in sound. And culmination, or end of the story here.
Ну что же, дорогой Иван Ильич, работа всего нашего коллектива, наконец, предстает перед зрителем.
Да, перед взыскательным ленинградским зрителем. И это очень волнует меня. Потому что вот в эти дни, когда я хожу по великому Ленинграду, я вижу те образы, которые помогли мне написать оперу «Октябрь». Я вижу площадь перед Финляндским вокзалом, Дворцовую площадь. Я представляю образ легендарной Авроры и разлива. И эти образы не только остались там где-то в моей работе над «Октябрем», они вечно живут в моем сердце.
Curtain. That's all. The story is finished, and now P.S.
Как тебя зовут? Сережа.
It's me.
А фамилия? Махровский. Знаешь это стихотворение? Знаешь? Расскажи нам громко.
Богатая старуха в одной стране жила. Богатая старуха внезапно умерла. Остался без хозяйки угрюмый одинок, такой же, как хозяйка, породистый бульдог.
А кто автор этого стихотворения, ты знаешь? Кто?
Сергей Михалков.
Правильно. Сережа, какие твои любимые занятия дома? Во что ты любишь больше всего играть?
Лепить.
Лепить. А в игрушки играешь дома?
Да.
А какие у тебя есть игрушки дома?
Лев, слон, бегемот.
А лепите вы в детском саду?
Да.
А кого ты лепишь?
Кого скажут.
Кого скажет воспитатель, да? А на улице в какие игры вы играете?
Всякие.
Во всякие. А в футбол ты любишь играть?
Нет.
А зимой вы что-нибудь делаете в саду в детском садике?
Да.
Убираете снег, да?
Да.
Ты тоже убираешь?
Да.
А ты любишь трудиться, Сережа? А тебе в школу хочется идти?
Да.
Дети, сегодня самый радостный день в вашей жизни. Поздравляю вас с первым учебным годом. Желаю отлично и хорошо учиться. Вова, расскажи, пожалуйста, что ты собрал в сумку сегодня? Что ты принес с тобой? Встань, Вова. Крышку подними. Встань прямо. Расскажи, пожалуйста, что ты принес? Посмотри на меня.
Букварь, карандаши, тетради, альбом для рисования.
Деточка, расскажи, пожалуйста, нравится тебе в школе?
Да.
Вы пришли учиться. Каждый день будете узнавать что-то новое. А кем вы хотите быть? Саша, кем хочешь быть, скажи, пожалуйста.
Футболистом.
Надо встать, Саша.
Футболистом.
Встань, пожалуйста, прямо. Ты хочешь быть футболистом. Почему?
Потому что у меня сначала папа был футболистом, а теперь токарем.
И тебе нравится быть футболистом?
Нравится.
Нравится. Садись, пожалуйста, Саша. Женя, скажи, кем ты хочешь быть?
Я хочу быть летчиком.
Летчиком. Почему ты, Женя, хочешь быть летчиком? Встань,
Потому
Женя,
что
прямо.
у меня папа летчик.
У тебя папа летчик?
Да.
Замечательно. Садись, Женя. Лили, кем хочет быть?
Я хочу быть врачом.
Вова, расскажи, пожалуйста, кем ты хочешь быть?
Я хочу быть...
Встань прямо, Вова.
Я хочу быть... Забыл. Я тебе скажу. Подумай.
Дети, попросим Надю рассказать, кем она хочет быть.
Счастливого пути, ребята.
So it sounds like ironic because we know already all this path, all this way. We know what this child will meet in the life, because and that is the end. And this episode, this how to say, true of the life, truth of life, exists against all this lie, which I represent during 70 minutes of that film. So, and it was an idea, and the way, and I can say that this is propaganda stuff which I used during all this first part, and this episode for me it's a real documentary. So it was an episode which made by Lelia Stanukinas, director of the studio, of the Leningrad Film Studio. So we have half an hour for the questions, I think, because I can continue with another film, but maybe you have some question or comments or discussion, or I don't know.
The mic is here.
Oh.
Thank you for really interesting talk and wonderful looking films. My question is about this use of archive footage and rights, basically. How do you get the rights to use this? Was it difficult? What was the process that you went through? Thank you.
You mean rights for footage? Okay. It depends what kind of agreement you can make with the studio. When I made Blockade and this film review, it was zero rights. Yeah, because I made it like studio films. And the next film, which named Event, we pay for rights something, but not a lot. And also I made a film which will be today, and we paid for rights more. But it was also a good agreement with the archive. But of course you have to pay for that. It was like they scan also because some footage it's public domain. They take rights, take money for scanning or something like that. I know that this is a painful question, and some minutes of some rights for some footage can cost 2,000, 3,000 for minute, euro or dollars, which is quite a lot. Yes, but in my case, thanks God, I still have, and I prepare now a few films also based on archive. I find my interest how to discover, because I would like to not only present something, but develop language and the way how I use that, change the style, the structure, how I made dramaturgy, and as more I work with archive, I find more and more. It's like this, how to say, allegory of the knowledge. You know, the line in between knowledge and knowledge, неизвестный, unknown things. Then if you move this line, this unknown things is more and more. And even in Soviet Union, we have very good archives and the history which we don't know. And now I work, for example, on archive, and I would like to use it for fiction films, the footage, archive footage for fiction films. And so I can show something, for example, which I edit. Instead to shoot that, I can, for example, that. You know, we just change the aspect ratio. Nobody work on sound a little bit. I can shoot the same, you know, but why? It's from real footage, 1941 in Ukraine. Just sound, color, aspect, and to shoot the rest of the film more or less in same quality of the texture of the picture. And you can involve archive in fiction film. For example, you know, maybe not, I don't know, I just try. And something I find very interesting, like here. So, okay, just here. No. Not here. It's more or less there. Okay, but this is. I prepared a film about the Second World War, and look, this is the cameraman. He followed the German soldier. He didn't care about the people who are living and lose the houses. It's not in the center of the composition, but it tells us a lot, you know. And if you make a film, I just study. When I watch archive, I study and I learn how to shoot to have this authenticity, not to be just with, and not to show openly everything. And it gives me this sense of authenticity when I watch it. And second thing, that almost all films which I have seen about the war is not fit to the archive footage. You know, it's far from. And this feeling which I get from the footage is completely different. So, and okay.
Thank you so much. So my question is, when you're making your films, do you have an idea for a film already and look through the archive to find your footage, or do you kind of dig through footage and then let that guide your film ideas? So where is your starting point?
With film trial, for example, I have seen somewhere in 2010, I have seen in internet one episode, like 2 minutes, how somebody inside the court tell that he is guilty. And it was his speech, and it was this somebody, it's a professor and very respectable man, and the old Russian language, which nobody speaks now in this language. And after few gradual education, etc. And I thinking, okay, maybe this kind of archive exists if they shot him, and no, maybe this archive exists. And I start research and send assistant to archive, and he record everything what connect to the Soviet trials in 30s, 20s, and yeah, it's 20s and 30s. And after that, we start to make a film based on this footage about the genesis of the Soviet political trials against the enemy of the nation, enemy of the population, so, and enemy of the people. And I edit half of that film till the moment when I start to use this archive with a sound, from where this two minutes exception, and somebody kissed me to that. In the night, I just wake up with the idea, I have to look to archive carefully. I open catalog and find that in that archive exists also second and third copy of the same film, but with different length. We just record one because there's no reason to record the same stuff, but it was not same stuff. I called to assistant, he recorded that, sent me, and I realized that this is also extra footage which was shot, and I have 3 hours which was shot inside the Stalin's court with the sound people speak, you know, and we can 1930. It's the first sound film. It's 1928 or 29, and I changed completely concept, and we start to edit that. This is how happened, and in each situation is different. Now I also collect archive and record footage, and I want to make a film about the death of Stalin and everything what they shot during these 4 days in Soviet Union. And there's quite a lot of footage, and this footage didn't touch people because Stalin was a banned name, you know, taboo in Soviet time. And after Soviet Union collapsed, I don't know, nobody care about that already, you know. And but it's plenty of the footage which are extremely interesting, you know. And that idea came to me when I also start to develop this, when I received the footage about the Stalin courts. I also asked to record for me the footage, the burying, the ritual of the burying Soviet leaders, because it's also interesting, and I'm thinking that I will, between court, using that funeral of the people to whom Stalin killed. Now we know everything, like Kirov, like Frunze, like other people, Ordzhonikidze, we know, Gorky, and just I thinking about that, but I'm not using. And now the next step, because it's also a place where was these courts, all courts was in one significant place where they also made the procession and burying funeral ritual. You know, the same place. It's also a significant thing, and this why it's connected. And finally, now I find that they have plenty of material of the Stalin funeral. So this is how it works. You just touch, you discover, and after that you find something even more interesting than probably you're thinking in the beginning. And with other film like event, which is about the coup d'etat or putsch in 1991. I know about this footage. It's footage which was shot during these 3 days of putsch in Leningrad, which is most interesting for me than in Moscow, because it's not on focus during all these events, and only one place where they shoot on film. The rest places they was not allowed to shoot on film. And after I made the film Maidan, the real revolution, I remember this footage, and for comparing that two events, I made the second film, because you can see the real revolution and fake revolution, which was this revolt, or I don't know how it's named, in 1991. So this idea, and all films like the net, they connect to each other, and I can see how the review connect to my film Donbass, but nobody knows that it will be a war. But the mentality developed in that way, and we have a very strange phenomena which always surround us, and this phenomenon change our behavior. So, and this is interesting for me.
Hi.
Dan?
Hi. Do you hear? I'm a distributor and a fan. That's why I'm here. So just I have several questions, but I don't want to, just to be too much. You haven't talked two documentaries you made, which is not about old footages, but you made it yourself. One is Glory Day, the other one is Austerlitz, which is I think it's very sarcastic and very interesting. Could you tell something about those two documentaries?
Which I did.
Glory Day.
It's День Победы.
Victory Day.
Yes.
And the Austerlitz.
Yeah.
Also, both are very fantastic films. But I think it's very sarcastic. They just am I not?
It's everything like in one bouquet. A bunch of flowers. It's sarcastic, sadness, and everything. What we can say about our recent time that, one film, Victory Day, I shot in Treptower Park in the
Berlin.
day when the Soviet historiography mentioned it as a day of the victory, because Stalin said that they signed this agreement with the Germans and Americans and etc. in 8. But Stalin said, no, 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 no. Next day you have resigned that. This is history. So, and in Soviet Union, they celebrate that. But for me, it's very strange and also sarcastic or ironic that in country which was beaten during the war, the country which, or people from country who beat this country celebrate victory. Can you imagine that happened in some way in the world? It's one example. So, and it still continue. And for me, Stalin the same as a Hitler. The same tyrann, and blood in his hand is like, he's on the hell in that blood. Yeah, and his quotation there, and he's a hero, and this is a fantastic coincidence. And paradoxal things is that people, a lot of people come, and they honestly, cry, and remember the, how many Soviet people died during the Second World War or was killed. Now they announce final numbers. It's 40 million. Can you imagine? It's every fifth person. 40 million. This is. It was like a month ago. They officially say that Statistic Department of Russian Federation. They just show calculation and officially say in Parliament. So, and this is quite. And in Germany, it is 8 million. 1 to 5. This is amazing. And we know why. It's a lot of during this blockade, or I don't know. So, okay. But I would like to shoot in the places where I feel I meet paradox. And this is paradoxal place, because from one side it's very honest and very true emotion. From other side it is fake and carnival and something else, which nothing with this emotion, the propaganda. And it exists in one top, in one glass. And you can't divide that. And what to do with that, I don't know. And the same with Austerlitz, with the places where people visit concentration camps. As a tourist, I didn't understand why there's no ritual or nothing, no church in that places. This is places of the biggest victimization, that a lot of bones inside the dust of what they have after they burning people. And explanation, this is what amazed me a lot, explanation how to create this kind of extermination machine. If you take it seriously, just everything explain you that it is Ampelplatz, this is a special place for barracks, and here the kitchen, here's a prison, and and the crematory work like that. It's no museum with the explanation what to do when this kind of things happened on the street, or I don't know, in political stage, what people shall to do. This is most important for us, but not. It's another issue, This kind of museum, or maybe somebody knows, but I didn't know how to protect yourself in these circumstances. Example of that circumstances quite a lot. But nobody developed this area. So, and this is this pure observation, just observation.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, is there any reason why you exclusively use black and white footage? And also, like, have you ever considered, like, now there is a lot of technology available for colorizing old footage. Have you ever considered using any of that kind of a technology, because the results can be quite interesting?
Yes, it's interesting for me to colorize. It costs a lot. I'm ready if we have this funding for colorize. It will be very interesting, you know. We will try colorized this footage which exists as a black and white from the Second World War. We will try, but we already in very good lab asking about the price, and 20 minutes it's a part of the huge part of the budget. You know, it's very expensive at the moment. Maybe in future just push color and color distribute in the understandable for computer way. But now it's handmade. They, for making fire, they have, I asked to colorize this episode, but for making fire, they have to make like a 3D model here, you know, in computer. With a moving image like that, it's not so easy. It's not just put color in. So, you know, all technology, how to lie. But it is interesting way how to use footage, and you can put your personage inside, you know. It will be in future the moral question if we can use that or not, but Eisenstein already answered to all of us when he made October, which is science fiction, which is absolutely not true, and this is his fantasy, but we all accept, and me too, as a document of the revolution. And the revolution happened in different way, and I hope here will be a film, a first anniversary, which was made by Dziga Vertov, was executed and divided by, I don't know, in 20s by the chiefs of the cinema in Soviet. And now they collect, one scientist, Nikolai Izvolov, collect all this footage and present as revolution. And in this 2 hours something, 2 hour, 20-minute footage, which show what happened in Moscow, Leningrad, and around that on political stage, Lenin was 12 seconds or 8 seconds once, Lenin once, and Stalin does not exist at all. But Trotsky, 1 hour. You know, this is a representation which we don't have. If you say Trotsky made Russian Revolution, you will have a lot of people who would like to argue against that. But Trotsky made. No. This is a question how the visual representation work with us.
I'm a filmmaker working with documentary and recently more and more with archive. And I'm like very much how do you work with the sounds. And, you know, making a sound for the silent movie, it's pretty exciting. And I'm just questioning about because your sequences were so perfect, like in a winter, you know, the trucks, the people. So you collecting everything like from archive and the stock, the sounds, or you create a lot of things again, of course, like walking on ice or steps, sounds. So was everything so perfect. And I can imagine how many layers you use, sometimes like 10 or more, I don't know. Truck, step, wind, you know, bird. Just if you talk about a little bit, if you like, please.
Yes, I work with a great sound designer, and I just show another example. here. It's another film, and I work with him like already 15 years. And when I met him, I realized that I can make films which are more complicated than I can. Because before I participate a lot in making sound in my films. I just direct sound designer, but I want to have the sound designer who understands me, can propose me something and can work in that way. And thanks God we met, and from 2002 we work on all films. And of course we discuss concept, and he have his own game inside that, inside film, which I time from time I discover, because he didn't say me. Time from time not. It's also I have my a lot of things which connected private to me and touch the very, you know, the private things, but nobody can discover that. This is kind of как это называется, бетон, which in between the bricks, you know, when you put this kind of stuff. We work on sound like 3 months, doesn't matter, like film 1.5 hours, 3 months. And doesn't matter, we have sound, record sound, does not record. We make steps, we make all stuff like this texture, and use old, he have big archive from the few studios, Soviet studios, and big, everything what they record, he in one time, before studio was destroyed, he record. He's sitting like spent months just to have this footage from this bus stock to computer, and it helped a lot because we can find the like sound of the bullet hundreds, or sound of the explosion hundreds, and cars, Studebaker. We find Studebaker. And for blockade, sound does not exist at all from that time. But I was surprised that film which we made about 1991, the sound also not exist. It's and I sitting in internet and looking something from 80s, and I find more in internet than in some library, you know. And for example, here. Okay, we have this episode, people staying, yes, and we have sound of the radio which announced that something happened. And I would like to bring immediately to the event, not spend time for description, where we are, just event.
Статьей 127.3 Конституции СССР и идя навстречу требованиям широких слоев населения о необходимости принятия самых решительных мер по предотвращению сползания общества к общенациональной катастрофе, ввести чрезвычайное положение на срок 6 месяцев с 4 часов по московскому времени 19 августа 1991 года.
So this is announced that state of emergency. They introduced that from that moment we just how to say announce that state of emergency. Yes, and people, it was a shot that people just listen something. I add the sound and event. Tchaikovsky, Swan Lake. In this dun, 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 we add in rhythm, in tact, distortion, but in same how to say в той же, я забыл слово, тональности, in same tonal, you know, and so why this Swan Lake? Because in that morning everybody wake up with this music because all 4 channels of the Soviet TV broadcast Swan Lake. It means for everybody something happened and they broadcasted in loop Swan Lake. Somebody earned money through that. Yes, and this music is a significant music, and I choose this one part which we decide repeat in each black when through the film when we have the black black picture in between chapters, we repeat, but we repeat the same music. But according the place where and or after which episode music sounded, the music play in different, create different emotion. Now it's just telling something, nice music. And in tragic moment, music, tragic, you know, sounded like tragic. It's a kind of Kuleshov effect with the music. Nothing happened, just you know, the meaning of episode influenced to the way how we accepted it. Right now, oh, okay. Now listen sound. Okay. Okay. It's a cars. Ta-ta-ta-ta. The cars.
Обращение к советскому народу. Соотечественники, граждане Советского Союза. В тяжкий, критический для судеб Отечества и наших народов час обращаемся мы к вам. Над нашей великой Родиной нависла смертельная опасность. Начатая по инициативе Михаила Сергеевича Горбачева политика реформ, задуманная как средство обеспечения динамичного развития страны и демократизации общественной жизни, в силу ряда причин зашла в тупик. В стране...
So, this is a second explanation what happened. This is address from the people who made the coup d'etat that the reform is it's not successful and now we have something to do. Yes. And when we turn camera, we use the sound which fit to the movement or signal or how it's named when you change the speed. Yeah, yeah, yes, and it help a lot. And many of these kind of tricks which we use, and if you have the, because in each episode you have the main sound, and after that supporting sound, and after that etc. And to create, how to say, symphony from all sound. Or, for example, the game. I will just show one game with the radio. Just a moment. Here we have different. Okay. We have different episodes when people listen radio. Yes?
Каким был устранен от власти президент СССР. Если президент болен, то зачем вводить в города танки,
Radio from car.
И объявлять комендантский час? Этим самым возвращается в нашу жизнь ложь и циничный обман народа. Политическое лицо ГКЧП характерно наступлением на гласность и введением цензуры. Ликвидируются таким трудом завоеванные свободы. Насилие направлено прежде всего против России,
Another radio.
против россиян. Все, что творится сейчас, ужасно возвращением к бесправным
Another radio.
сталинских времен. Произошел переворот. который нельзя назвать
And
иначе,
now,
как
episode when something happened with the radio, and of course we use it.
позорный и истории нашей страны.
You know, just look to the picture and start your game. And don't miss any opportunity to use it because it gives you a feeling of authenticity and involves spectator inside the film. So, and this kind of things and stuff here quite a lot with the sound here. And, you know, it is just some program which give you possibility. But it's very funny, and I love a lot work with the sound. I love more than anything else. Yeah.
So we have time for one more question here.
Closing question, a very general one. I was thinking while I was listening to you speak about these films, also about your fiction, and there's one or two tying things between both, and I'm maybe more familiar with fiction, but they're all about politics. And they're very often about this low sense of politics, about shifting the perspective towards the individual people as opposed to political structures. And what I actually wanted to ask you, thinking about this, is what is it that appeals so much to you in politics, and what do you think films should do with regard to this? Because all of your films, in a sense, redefine how we remember certain historical things. We laugh at the way that we presented the Soviet Union during the Soviet Union, and we subvert the idea that we presented it in this way. We look at men, I keep thinking of In the Fog, and these men caught up in a conflict which they are not actively or are more or less participating in, but there is this happening which we don't actually see. We see a different perspective. What do you think film should do with regard to memory? What is your driving force with regard to this? Do you reflect on this, or is this just something that interests you and you don't necessarily reflect on this? So?
Yeah, but this question not addressing to the film, this question addressing to the filmmakers. And I think they have to be honest in front to themselves, перед самими собой, честными. To themselves, honest to themselves. And I tell about the things which disturb me, and it's pain for me, and I describe it in the way when, you know, I would like to share my worrying with the people also and proposed my vision of that. Let's other directors make their vision, and let's discuss on that level. Not on the level of the weapon, but on the level of ideas. Because different people have different ideas, and but you know, some you want or not, all your films will political film. Doesn't matter if you just described nothing which direct connect to the politics. Politics is a relationship in between people, you know, and it's always in our life. Easy action, like you come to the shop and buy things, you thinking you support, you know, Australia, United States, or Hungary. It's a political statement, small, you know, and etc., etc. Where you live, it's also your political statement. Where you live, where you pay tax and support which kind of society. It's a political statement. And if somebody say, I'm like in Soviet Union, we are far from politics. No, it's not true. This is a formula, but it's not true. But first of all, for me, it's art. And I make these films as a piece of art. And but I make films about the topics which disturb me a lot, and this is belongs. It's a superposition when everything exists in one, or different things exist in one. So, okay.
Thank you. Time really flies with you, but I think now we need a break, and we can still ask questions over the refreshments. I invite everyone to join there, and thank you so much, Sergei. We will continue at 6 o'clock with the film. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.